do this.
And I'd like to end right now by talking through just one more thing, going back to autos and giving you a sense of where the bubble might be in this market.
Tell me, Cathie.
It is not in innovation stocks. No? They've been cut in half, many of them, some by 75%.
Damn.
But listen to this. I gave you the story about Ford reporting that it would have to double its electric vehicle production of the F-150 Lightning.
GM is the king.
And the stock just taking off, not paying any attention to the auto statistics
you did it, Mary.
I just mentioned.
You electrified the whole nation.
Well, when I think of what could happen in that space, and I see these stocks ramping on sales that mean nothing to these companies in terms of their earnings, shall we say, right now. In fact, they need to invest a lot more in electric to make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
To move the needle in these companies. They're probably going to be facing some credit issues since they're hugely leveraged to the credit that people take out on their autos. And as prices go down, residual values go down. So if I'm right on any of this, there will be disappointments in terms of the auto sector. And I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of the companies loses money next year, which would be most unexpected. And if it loses money, what is that valuation? Where are the crazy valuations now? Are they in our stocks now that Zoom is down to 33 or 35 times this year's earnings? Or is it in an auto stock where there might be losses? And what's that PE ratio? That's infinity. That's where the bubble is.
Yo, Cathie's
and I think
pissed.
You're going to see a lot more cases in point as this year moves along.
What is going on, Cyberfam? We just watched a clip of Cathie Wood absolutely lose it. If I picture Cathie losing her cool, this would probably be it. Okay, now I hate to put out videos on the weekend. Seriously, I think weekends are like family time. You guys should really spend time doing that. So I'll try to keep it nice and short. Every end of the week, I do this thing where I just capture market events, and I try to see if I can get my reaction so I can post it, just because I want to put it on my channel and log my actual progress and investment journey and all the research that I'm doing. Man, I don't think I've ever seen her this pissed. If I can picture Cathie Wood pissed off in a room, this is what it would look like, I think. Here's what she's saying. Looks like Cathie Wood is predicting a bubble, and honestly, just speaking to a lot of you, it looks like we were right. Like, we all knew it. Everyone was thinking it. Cathie Wood just said it. And I think she was pretty pissed because, man, her funds have been underperforming like crazy. I know. I have RK, right? It's not really like I don't have a lot of it, but you know, I have enough of it that matters. So I understand, like, it's underperforming like crazy, and people want to know, man. You gotta tell people, like, what's the deal? You know, like, what you were like the darling of 2020, and rightfully so. She was right on a lot of predictions. So, like, what's going on with 2021? And you know, my take on this before we get to the bubble part is that, you know, she might pick all the innovation companies, but not all of them are going to be amazing, right? Like, personally, I don't know why Roku is such a big deal. I don't understand it. I think the product is kind of just whatever. Zoom too, like, I don't know where they're competing. It's not that the product is terrible or anything, but like, how much better is Zoom really though, right? Like, it's just video call for the most part. And even if they have other offerings, what are you really using Zoom for? Are you going to go to Zoom for these other offerings, or are you using it for the video call? I don't know. You guys let me know. Like, maybe I'm wrong on Zoom, but Roku, Zoom, like, there's a few other ones I don't really get what Cathie's into. But you know, I do understand the Palantir. I do understand the Tesla. I understand the UiPath. I understand the Unity. I get all that. That stuff is totally my wheelhouse. I understand that. But the thing is, I think Cathie is finally pulling out the guns, man. This is her way of saying, I know, and this is what's going to happen, and we finally have a name on this bubble culprit. What she's saying is basically legacy auto is in a massive bubble. And the thing is, this is not the first time I heard it. We've been hearing this, of course, with the rise of Tesla. One of my like all-time favorite YouTubers, Chicken Genius Singapore, I'll leave a link to his like channel over here, or a video that's relevant to this. You know, he might be shorting GM. And you guys have heard this thing before, so I won't beat you over the head with it, but you know, a lot of them are transitioning to this EV thing, but it's a little bit too late, right? And the reason I'm telling you that this is 100% going to be the case is because, you know, there's something similar that happened in another sector altogether, actually a little over 10 years ago. But if you guys remember the iPhone and BlackBerry, this is exactly what happened. I actually used to work for BlackBerry, so I've seen the decimation. I've seen the end result of this war. You know, when the iPhone came out, to be honest, you know, it was revolutionary, right? It was great, and Blackberries at the time were actually more. They had more features. There was lots more to do on a Blackberry. It was like the king of enterprise phones, and you know, everyone had like little pouches and on their belt buckles and stuff. I don't know if you guys remember that, but the thing is, anything you could do in a Blackberry, you could have done on an iPhone. At that point, to a lesser degree in terms of like quality, but it was just so sleek, and it was just completely a new way of looking at a phone, right? And I remember because, you know, I had a BlackBerry. I worked there as well when they were developing some of the stuff in the early 2010s. And it was just chaos. Because the thing is, the way that Apple was doing it was completely revolutionary. It was a totally different product, even though it did similar functions. And BlackBerry just could not match. They tried. And honestly, like, I loved working there. It was a fantastic company. No issues with the company. They weren't like super malicious. Very good company to work for at that time. But to be honest, you felt it. You felt the pressure. Like, people were getting laid off left, right, and center. Right? And I worked there after, like much after, so in the mid 2010s. And I remember going to like a store in the mall, and there was a guy who was like, "Oh, you work at BlackBerry? I see your lanyard." I was like, yeah. And he's like, "Oh, cool, man. I used to work there too." And I was just like, man, oh God, like, you know, people don't understand the fallout of this kind of disruptive innovation. You only see it in like the stock, or you only see it in the company, but I'm telling you firsthand, like, I've seen the entire like decimation that happened of this thing, and they went from a market giant to like, you know, something that's not even relevant or obscure today. And the crazy thing is, Tesla, it's not even the same thing. You might say it's the same thing as an iPhone versus a BlackBerry or something, but it's not, because at least from the phone perspective, they had somewhat similar functionality and features. Teslas are not like regular cars, guys. I have a car that's from 2019, and there are some techie features in there, but it does not even hold a candle to Tesla. And it's a luxury car, the one I'm talking about. It costs a lot. Like, I could have bought a Model Y with that car. It's a lease, you know, and my wife likes it, so don't go too hard on me, but I'd rather have the stock right now than the car. So, but anyway, at least with the phones, it's similar technology, right? Like, sure, the screen was a little bit different, but they could have, and they did, by the way, BlackBerry did. They went to Foxconn, they went to all these guys. They got, you know, like the TFT touchscreens and all this stuff. They did try. It's not like they didn't try, but it was too late. It was way too late. GM and Ford and all these guys, right? What Cathie's saying is their stock is getting higher gains from what, though? From what? I mean, of course, GM, though, you can't touch them, because Mary Barra is like a revolutionary. She completely electrified the whole world. You did it, Mary, wherever you are. I mean, I think Ford is actually more ahead on this, but even them, like, what have they really delivered? And then we have guys like Rivian and Lucid and stuff, like, great companies. Like, I really think Lucid and Rivian are going to survive, but damn, it's like, I would never pay what they're asking for their stock price, especially because not too long ago, like 2 years ago, people are shitting all over Tesla for having such a high valuation for actually delivering cars. Like, but here's the thing too as well, okay? It's important to keep an objective view here. Now, keep in mind, I'm a huge Tesla bull. Like, Tesla's my number one position, then it's Palantir, then it's some other things. But the important thing is you always have to stay objective. I know Tesla has this huge following on YouTube. I'm not a Tesla YouTuber. I'm a myself YouTuber. I'm trying to log my investment journey. But the thing is, you have to stay objective, because it's almost like an echo chamber a little bit when it comes to like Tesla YouTube. For the most part, I do agree with pretty much everything they say. I'm just saying, it's always good to hear a different perspective, right? The one argument I can make with this whole situation is, I remember not too long ago when I was actually buying like a bunch of Tesla shares, and I made a video. I said, like, I bought like, I think like a whole bunch of money worth of Tesla shares. And then a week later, it went up like crazy. I remember like my family friend called me and he's like, "Dude, like, what the friggin' hell happened? How did you know this was happening?" And I had no idea what was happening. And it was because of the Hertz deal. And that deal was for 100,000 cars. And to be honest, that deal is big because it opens the door for future things, for sure. But it's not exactly solidified, guys, okay? Like, I've seen YouTubers trash other companies for saying, "Oh, memorandum of understanding." The most famous one was Nikola, but that company is kind of trash, allegedly, okay? Allegedly. Not investment advice, right? At the same time, it was the same case for Hertz. Like, it wasn't exactly fully inked at that time. It was sort of like a looser agreement. And all of a sudden, the stock spiked hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Do I think it's warranted? I don't know. I don't actually think it's warranted, to be very honest with you. Like, it's great for me. I make more money, but, you know, I mean, then again, I don't care because I'm a long-term investor. Like, I'm not selling it now. But at the same time, we have to take that with a pinch of salt too, right? So the same shit happened over here with the legacy auto. Like, Ford is Ford announced that they're doing something with EVs, or GM announced it, and then their stock price goes up. I think they're actually pretty analogous, to be honest with you. But one, on this side, Tesla, is actually doing something, delivering cars and actually innovating. And the other side, GM and Ford, I mean, are they innovating? Yeah, but is it enough? Probably not. Is it to the same level as Tesla? Not even close. Guys, like, I know this is a thing that's happening, but I'm telling you, the fallout from this is going to be absolutely not localized, especially because GM, Ford, a lot of large funds that hold pensions hold these stocks. So like, I know the place I work at, they're one of the major funds for retirement actually has a large GM position. So I mean, I would really highly suggest that you guys, you know, especially if you're not managing your investment yourself, which by the way is actually why I'm doing all this. Like, I moved all my funds out of investing through like somebody and moved it to just me managing, me and my wife actually. So, but it's crazy. I think Cathie's pretty pissed off just from the fact that she's getting all this flack that her funds are like kind of taking a shitter. And honestly, this is such an understatement that she's making, because we all knew it. Yeah, but I really think we're in it now, guys. We're starting to see the walls crumble, and I really truly wish that people are able to see this in advance and pull out their money or save what's left of what they're trying to invest. The worst part about all this is somebody's got to be a loser. As far as I like making money, I don't want to, I can't help but think that some people just are not seeing this for what it is. And if you are somebody who's an investor in GM and Ford, like, let me know in the comments, like, have you sat in a Tesla before? Have you seen how it drives? I've driven one and it is night and day, guys. Compare that to a GM. Come on, man. Like, tell me you sat in a Tesla and it's not the same as GM, you know? And yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting year. 2022 is going to be interesting. I don't think some of these legacy companies and incumbents are going to survive past 2025. And this is very indicative of what happened with BlackBerry and all these other companies. When you see this kind of play happening in your industry and you don't adapt as an organization, you're going to get eaten alive, especially with the modern age, when things move faster, code moves faster, right? So like, even from a software perspective, you can deploy things into production 5 minutes after you've written the code. So as this is exactly why even software companies are innovating at such breakneck speed. And on top of that, as we progress into this sort of like downward cycle, all these analysts are just going to start downgrading. Their credit's going to be downgraded. It's relative. Like, if it drops at a certain rate, you have to increase something at double that rate to be par. And I don't think they have anything, you know, in the barrel here. A key example of this is like the pavilion for GM at the whole EV thing in California was like freaking empty. Hey, you hate to see it, but you can't say that they weren't warned. You can't say that they couldn't have seen this coming, because they had tons of time to prepare, and they just took all the shareholders for a ride, in my opinion, allegedly. Don't sue me, GM or Ford or anybody. I mean, chop off a limb and survive with 3, or, you know, I think you're just going to lose them all. That's all I got, guys. I mean, I really hope you guys do your own research. I will leave the link to the video in the description. Please watch the whole thing. It's actually quite informative, whether you're an ARK investor or not. And I just really think that Cathie's perspective on this is right. There is quite a large bubble in this one specific space. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I love you for spending your time on the weekend with me, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Peace.